Discover the surprising truth about weak glutes and how just 5 simple home exercises can transform your strength and mobility after 50. While it might sound like an exaggeration, weak glutes can indeed be detrimental to your health. A study published in the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy revealed a direct link between weakness in the gluteus medius and a higher incidence of knee injuries, chronic lower back pain, and hip instability. These are conditions that significantly accelerate the loss of mobility and independence as we age past 50. It's a common oversight. Many focus on strengthening their thighs and calves, while the glutes are often neglected, particularly by men who have historically dismissed this muscle as purely aesthetic or primarily feminine. The critical issue is that weak glutes overload the spine, throw the pelvis off balance, and dramatically increase the risk of falls, which tragically stands as one of the leading causes of death in individuals over 60. That is precisely why, today, we will explore the only 5 exercises you genuinely need to strengthen your glutes effectively and safely after 50. Best of all, you can perform all of them right in the comfort of your home, so there are truly no excuses. Our first essential exercise is the frog pump. While its name might elicit a chuckle, its results are undeniably serious. This exercise is uniquely valuable for its rare combination of high muscle activation and remarkably low joint impact, a benefit most other glute exercises simply cannot provide. Here's a lesser-known fact: the gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in the human body. Efficiently training it yields benefits far beyond just aesthetics. A well-developed gluteus maximus significantly contributes to a phenomenon known as excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or EPOC, meaning your body continues to burn more calories for hours after your workout, even at rest. All of this is achieved, in this case, without leaving home and without placing any undue load on your knees. The frog pump primarily targets the gluteus maximus, with supporting involvement from the hamstrings and hip stabilizers. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research by Brett Contreras and his collaborators demonstrated that it generates electromyographic activation of the gluteus maximus comparable to that of a traditional hip thrust, but with significantly less stress on the knee and hip joints. For those over 50, who frequently contend with some degree of joint wear, this finding is a complete game changer. To perform it correctly, lie on your back on a mat, bring the soles of your feet together, and open your knees outward, mimicking a frog. Then, push your hips upward, firmly contracting your glutes at the peak of the movement. The crucial element is to hold that contraction at the top for at least 2 seconds before slowly lowering. For a helpful mental cue, imagine squeezing your glutes as if you were trying to hold something firmly between them. If you feel an intense burning sensation in your glutes within the first few repetitions, rest assured you are effectively engaging the correct muscles. The main errors to avoid include not fully bringing the soles of your feet together, using momentum from your lower back instead of a conscious glute contraction, and failing to hold the contraction at the top of the movement. Many individuals perform this exercise too quickly, losing out on its core efficiency, time under tension. Aim for 3 sets of 15 to 20 repetitions, incorporating a 2-second pause at the top of each rep. The primary contraindication is for individuals experiencing intense hip or groin pain. In such cases, it is advisable to seek medical evaluation before incorporating this exercise into your routine. Moving on to our second exercise, the sumo squat, one of the smartest variations you can integrate into your routine after 50. In this exercise, your feet are positioned wider than shoulder width apart, with your toes pointing outward at an angle between 45 and 60 degrees. This specific stance isn't merely a matter of style, it profoundly alters the muscle recruitment pattern. The gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, and inner thigh adductors are engaged far more intensely than in a conventional squat, leading to a more comprehensive workout for your entire posterior hip chain. What makes this exercise particularly valuable for individuals over 50 is that, when performed with proper technique, it distributes weight more effectively through the hips and significantly reduces pressure on the knees. Beyond strengthening, the sumo squat also notably improves hip mobility, a crucial aspect of quality of life and daily activities that tends to progressively decline with age. Simple movements like climbing stairs, sitting down and standing up from a chair, or picking something up from the floor without pain all rely on functional and strong hips. Consistent practitioners often report real improvements in these everyday activities within just a few weeks of dedicated training. To execute it correctly, position your feet wide apart, ensuring your knees track strictly in the same direction as your toes. Maintain a tall chest, a neutral spine, and descend in a controlled manner until your thighs are parallel to the floor, or slightly below if your mobility permits. Take 2 to 3 seconds for the downward phase. At the top of the movement, before initiating the next repetition, actively contract your glutes for a moment. The primary errors to avoid include allowing your knees to cave inward during the descent, leaning your torso excessively forward, and not descending deeply enough to fully activate the gluteus maximus. The inward collapse of the knees is particularly concerning as it overloads the joint and drastically diminishes the activation of the gluteus medius, thereby negating much of the exercise's benefit. Perform 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions, maintaining that controlled tempo on the way down. Individuals with advanced knee or hip osteoarthritis should consult a professional before incorporating this exercise into their routine. Our third exercise is the step up, which, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated exercises for anyone aiming to strengthen their glutes after 50. The elegance of this exercise lies in its capacity to combine intense muscle strengthening with highly relevant real-life functionality. It effectively simulates the act of climbing stairs, a movement we perform daily, thereby directly enhancing our quality of life. A 2016 study published in the Journal of Human Kinetics demonstrated that the unilateral step-up activates the gluteus maximus at levels exceeding 60% of maximum voluntary contraction, positioning it as one of the most effective exercises for glute strengthening without imposing excessive joint impact. Furthermore, because it works one leg at a time, it is excellent for identifying and correcting lateral muscle imbalances, which are incredibly common after the age of 50. Just imagine the profound impact this has, not only on your training progress but also on your everyday stability and safety when walking. Regular practitioners frequently report significant improvements in proprioception and overall confidence when performing daily movements, which holds immense value in fall prevention. To perform this exercise, position a firm and stable step or bench in front of you, at a height of at least 30 centimeters. Step up with one foot, pressing your heel firmly into the surface, and bring your entire body upward using the strength of your glute. The crucial secret is to avoid pushing off with your bottom leg. It should only follow the movement, not generate the ascent. Control your descent slowly, taking 2 to 3 seconds to return to the floor. The main errors to avoid include using a push from the bottom leg to assist the ascent, projecting your knee too far forward over your foot during the movement, and failing to control the descent phase. These 3 errors combined can transform an otherwise excellent exercise into a potential source of knee pain. Perform 3 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions per leg. The primary contraindication applies to individuals with severe knee or ankle instability, who should seek a gradual progression under professional supervision before attempting to increase the step height. Next up is our fourth exercise, the elevated feet glute bridge. If you're already performing the traditional glute bridge and find it no longer provides the same challenge, this elevated feet version will completely revolutionize your perspective. By placing your feet on a stable surface like a bench, a box, or a step, your hips are forced to lower below your body line before rising. This action creates a pre-tension stretch in the gluteus maximus, which significantly amplifies the muscular contraction at the top of the movement. In terms of muscle recruitment, this represents a very significant difference compared to the floor-based version. Many people are unaware that the eccentric phase, or the lowering portion of an exercise, is responsible for approximately 40 to 50% of its hypertrophy potential. Therefore, descending slowly, allowing your hips to fully lower before rising, is not just a safety precaution, it's a highly intelligent training strategy. The primary muscles engaged are the gluteus maximus and hamstrings, with crucial involvement from the hip stabilizers and core to maintain proper body alignment throughout the movement. To perform it, rest your shoulders on the floor on a mat or pad, place your feet on the elevated surface with hip-width spacing, and push your hips upward until your body forms a straight line from your knees to your shoulders. Firmly contract your glutes for 2 seconds at the top before lowering in a controlled manner. It's essential not to let your hips touch the floor between repetitions. Maintaining constant muscle tension is what truly distinguishes an average set from a truly efficient one. The main errors to avoid include hyperextending your lower back at the top, as if trying to rise beyond natural alignment, allowing your knees to splay outward during the movement, and failing to control the lowering phase. Perform 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions, incorporating a 2-second isometric contraction at the peak of each rep. Individuals with active lower back pain or shoulder issues should adapt their support or seek professional guidance before attempting this exercise. Our fifth and final core exercise is the donkey kick. This gluteus maximus isolation exercise offers a rarely discussed but significant advantage. It targets hip extension directly and controllably, without overloading the spine, knees, or any other joint. For individuals over 50, this characteristic is invaluable. A study published by the American Council on Exercise, in partnership with researchers from the University of Wisconsin, identified the donkey kick as one of the exercises achieving the highest isolated activation of the gluteus maximus, especially when the leg is kept bent at 90 degrees and the movement is performed slowly and intentionally. What makes this exercise particularly beneficial for the over 50 demographic is precisely this combination: high gluteus maximus recruitment with very low joint risk. This allows you to work the largest muscle in your body with great intensity without relying on potentially worn joints to bear the load. Furthermore, as an isolation exercise, it works exceptionally well as a finisher at the end of a workout when your glutes are already fatigued from previous movements. To perform it, support yourself on all fours, ensuring your wrists are aligned directly under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Keep one leg bent at a 90-degree angle and push your heel toward the ceiling, as if trying to press the sole of your foot against it. Firmly contract the glute at the highest point of the movement and hold for 1 second before lowering in a controlled manner. It is crucial that your spine remains neutral and stable throughout the entire exercise, without accentuating the lower back curve. The main errors to avoid include throwing your leg upward with momentum, which removes all tension from the glute and turns the exercise into a simple leg swing, allowing your lower back to sag or arch excessively during the movement, and rotating your torso when raising the leg. These 3 errors are very common and almost always indicate that compensatory muscles are taking over work that should belong exclusively to the glute. Perform 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions per side. For those with carpal tunnel syndrome or intense wrist pain, the exercise can be adapted by resting your forearms on the floor instead of your wrists, without compromising the movement's efficiency. These 5 exercises alone are more than sufficient to build truly strong and well-developed glutes. However, if you aspire to go further and cultivate glutes that even many individuals in their 30s rarely achieve, then it is well worth incorporating these 2 bonus exercises into your routine. Our first bonus exercise is the clam shell. This movement specifically targets the gluteus medius, a deep muscle situated on the side of the hip that most people unfortunately overlook in their training. This oversight can prove costly over time. The gluteus medius plays a fundamental role in maintaining pelvic stability, proper posture, and preventing knee and lower back injuries, issues that are exceedingly common after the age of 50. When this muscle is weak, the pelvis becomes misaligned, the lower back gets overloaded, and the knees become vulnerable to wear. In practice, strengthening the gluteus medius is one of the most effective ways to proactively protect the entire musculoskeletal system of your lower body. Despite appearing to be a small movement at first glance, when performed correctly, the clam shell creates an intense burning sensation on the side of the hip within just a few repetitions. That sensation is precisely the signal that you are recruiting the correct muscle. Regular practitioners frequently report improved stability when walking and a reduction in chronic knee and lower back pain, which makes complete biomechanical sense. A strong gluteus medius better distributes the forces that impact the hip and knee with each step. To perform it, lie on your side on a mat with your hips flexed at approximately 45 degrees and your knees bent, keeping your feet aligned with each other. Without rotating your pelvis backward, open your top knee like a clam shell opening. Hold for 1 second at the top and then lower in a controlled manner. A resistance band position just above the knee significantly increases the intensity and is highly recommended once repetitions without resistance become easy. The main errors to avoid include allowing your hip to rotate backward during the knee opening, not keeping your feet aligned throughout the movement, and performing the repetitions too quickly without truly feeling the contraction on the side of your hip. The hip rotation error is particularly common and causes other muscles to compensate, taking over work that should belong exclusively to the gluteus medius. Perform 3 sets of 15 to 20 repetitions per side. There are no significant contraindications for this exercise, and it is frequently utilized in hip and knee rehabilitation protocols. Our second bonus exercise is the seated band abduction, arguably the most underrated exercise on this entire list. It effectively activates the gluteus medius and gluteus minimus, fibers that are frequently inactive in sedentary individuals or those who spend extensive periods sitting, a profile extremely common among the over 50 demographic. The seated position offers an important strategic advantage. It minimizes the involvement of other muscles, thereby isolating the work on the lateral hip far more efficiently. While standing abduction exercises might allow compensatory muscles to steal some of the effort, this is much harder to happen in the seated position. This also means the band needs to offer genuine resistance. A band with insufficient tension will generate minimal muscle recruitment, rendering the exercise nearly useless. Choose a tension that ensures the last repetitions of each set require genuine effort, without needing to lean your torso to complete them. To perform it, sit in a firm chair or on a bench with an erect spine. Position the resistance band just above your knees. Keep your feet parallel and hip-width apart, and then open your knees outward, pressing against the band's resistance. Hold for 1 to 2 seconds in the most open position before returning in a controlled manner. Focus intently on feeling the contraction on the side of your hip with each repetition. The main errors to avoid include leaning your torso forward during the knee opening, using a band with tension that is too low to create a real challenge, and failing to perform a conscious contraction at the peak of the movement. Perform 3 sets of 20 repetitions. As an isometric variation, open your knees as wide as possible, hold for 30 to 45 seconds per set, and rest for the same amount of time before the next set. There are no relevant contraindications, and this exercise is frequently recommended even in post-surgical hip rehabilitation programs.